reasons. Black all the time, no matter the time of season. We spice up everything and add our flavor, we the seasoning. Hated by many, but admired by most. We the baddest from the US to the Ivory Coast. We don't have to exert our power, we just simply ghost. We've been put down, let down, and hung out to dry. But through all of it, we still keep our heads to the sky. Black forever, forever. I'm unapologetically black. We rise like unapologetic, yeah, we're the chosen. From the streets to the stage, the power's awoken. Black magic in our veins, feel the motion. Warriors of change, pushing through every notion. No chains can hold us, we break through like oceans. Educate, elevate, that's our devotion.
Another Queen Ahmadiyyah production.
I'm unapologetically black for all rhymes and reason. I give no apologies for my blackness, giving rhyme or reasons. Black all the time, no matter the time of season. We spice up everything and add our flavor, we the seasoning. Hated by many, but admired by most. We the baddest from the US to the Ivory Coast. We don't have to exert our power, we just simply ghost. We've been put down, let down, and hung out to dry. But through all of it, we still keep our heads to the sky. Black forever, forever. I'm unapologetically black. Still pushing through the struggle, can't keep us down. Voices loud from the underground to every town. Shades of excellence, ain't no hiding, won't back down. From the roots to the US, in the city's crown. Stay shining bright despite the hate they lay. Our culture's fire burns strong night and day. Black forever, the spirit won't decay. Raise the banner high, cause we here to stay. Sally, stay shine, but blue, it'll never I talk, so I cry, Sally. Angel, you command, your thoughts are demands, and it's turn on Sally. I'm unapologetically black for all rhymes and reason. I give no apologies for my blackness, giving rhyme or reasons. Black all the time, no matter the time of season. We spice up everything and add our flavor, we the seasoning. Hated by many, but admired by most. We the baddest from the US to the Ivory Coast. We don't have to exert our power, we just simply ghost. We've been put down, let down, and hung out to dry. But through all of it, we still keep our heads to the sky. Black forever, forever. I'm unapologetically black. We rise like unapologetic, yeah, we're the chosen. From the streets to the stage, the power's awoken. Black magic in our veins, feel the motion. Warriors of change, pushing through every notion.
Black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all. And I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all. And I'm black, y'all. And I'm black, y'all. And I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all. I'm blickety black, blacker than black, black. I'm blacker than.
All right, hello everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, and with that all being said, don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Dr._A_Shakur and Twitter at DGoddess27. Okay, so hello, Fat Boo, 504 Nola, Vince, I am from the UK, most hated, bronze, flat power God. All right, Miss Sheila's in the house, Deronda, Claudette, Nessie X. All right, let's get into it. Dragon Lily, above all that drama, that crazy beach Aries, G from the land, Anita Harrell, Pearly, Courtney J is in the house, Nessie X. All right, so Jeff ATL, I see you, Dragon Lily. Shout out to everyone in chat and everyone tuned into the Queen. Let's get this party started. Let's get it started. A grand rising to you, G from the land, beloved. Okay, Vince said the Queen is out here on Screwtube Street, looking flawless as always. Well, thank you. Okay, Boo Nice is in the house. All right, Samantha, let's get it popping, you guys, because Diddy is the topic of today's discussion. Now, let's talk about it. Now, I told you guys on yesterday that I thought that superseded indictment was lackluster at best. And as I told you all on more than one occasion, I want y'all to please pay attention because remember, you heard it here first. I have told you all on more than one occasion that I believe that the feds are purposely bungling this entire case. They're not stupid, okay? They've done a myriad of things that are sketchy, all right? They have done a myriad of things that just makes me have a whole lot of questions, all right? They have done things that I just think are, you know, done on purpose. That these are not just mistakes that they're making. different media outlets or publications saying that they have leaked information to them, anonymous agents. Okay, that whole thing with them going into Diddy's personal belongings and taking information that was supposed to be between he and his attorney, they knew that was fruits of the poisonous tree before they took it. Okay, at the end of the day, whether or not investigator one was actually working with and for them or not, the bottom line is they got that information and now they say, oh, don't worry, we're not going to use it. But why would you even get it in the first place when you knew it's going to cause a kerfuffle, shall I say? Okay. At the end of the day, and like I said, I also think now that they did leak that Cassie video. Now, first, remember when people were saying, oh, they leaked the Cassie tape, I said, no, the feds wouldn't be that stupid. They know that that could damage their case. But if you're trying to damage your own case, well, you would absolutely do stuff like that. Then they come out with the first indictment talking about all this baby oil and lubricant. Okay. Then they come out with a superseded indictment. They don't list one underage person, one person that complained about Diddy or accused Diddy that was supposedly underage at the time. They don't say anything about minors being trafficked or any of those things that are in several of the lawsuits, mind you. They don't say anything about that, and I find it all interesting. I find it all interesting. Okay. Thank you, D Hood, Real and Beloved, for your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay. Says at Claudette Moore, peace, queen. All right. So now, with that all being said, here's the question. Here's the question. Are they trying to cover up something? I absolutely believe they are. Like I've already told you, they're trying to cover up, in my opinion. Now, I can't prove this, but I'm going to show you some evidence today that you haven't seen anywhere else. And I want you to pay attention because you heard it here first. Okay. I want you all to pay attention because I'm about to break it on down. You see, there is somebody who I've been telling you from day one that they're not going to prosecute ever. No matter what this person does, this person will be protected at all costs. And I do believe that Diddy has video footage of this person engaging in not only heinous, okay, and depraved sexual acts, but very likely in criminal acts. Okay? Because this person, in fact, is a whole criminal. Most people don't know that, but I have the receipts. So we're going to get into it. Okay. And this person has been tied to the mob in the past. Now, I don't know if they still are, but they were tied to a crime mob. Okay. And they've been accused of several crimes in the past, which they got no jail or prison time for. So that proves, in my opinion, that this person is allegedly protected. Okay? And so this is what I'm talking about when I tell you guys they don't have the real freak off footage. I've been telling y'all that since last year. And now it comes out that the only footage that they actually claim to have is the footage that Cassie gave them, the 9 videos she gave them in December of 2023, a month after she settled her suit with Diddy. The next month, she gave that to them. They've had this all along. Now, did they gather any receipts from Diddy's residences? I don't know. They haven't said. Maybe they're keeping that information under lock and key. But what I can tell you is they don't have the footage that Diddy doesn't want them to have. I guarantee you that. I guarantee you they don't have the real footage that Diddy doesn't want them to have. And that's why Diddy's still breathing. That's why Diddy's still breathing. And like I said, I believe that somebody very significant is on that. And we're going to get into that in a minute. But first, let's talk about Diddy. Okay, let's talk about Diddy because here's what they reported a day or so ago. So after spending the past year largely out of the spotlight in the comfort of his massive Miami Beach compound, one of 2 homes raided by Homeland Security officials last March, Combs was suddenly seen sunbathing in Central Park, okay, around the city. As dusk approached on Monday, September the 16th, he made a pit stop to the upscale Park Hyatt Hotel, where premium suites run as high as $7,000 per night. And even under a federal investigation with jail time looming, prison time looming, Diddy was still living his best life. Combs was planning on heading back out that evening to look for a more permanent residence in the area. He was aware the Southern District of New York's criminal investigation into his activities was well underway, and he was ready to turn himself in to avoid a dramatic guns blazing arrest, according to his attorney. But seconds after he crossed the lobby threshold, two plainclothes federal agents approached him, holding a 14-page criminal indictment that accused him of trafficking, racketeering, conspiracy, and transportation to engage in prostitution. Now, the next day, Combs stood in front of a U.S. district judge and pleaded not guilty, wearing the same rumpled T-shirt and sweatpants he'd been hauled off in just the night before. Now, the music executive had nothing to hide. This is what his lead defense attorney, Mark Agnifilo, said at his initial bail hearing. The lawyer claimed that Combs' relationship with Ventura was toxic at times, but nowhere near what prosecutors were claiming. Agnifilo didn't specifically name Ventura, but it was clear she was victim one in the indictment, the central target of the purported criminal enterprise that allegedly used violence, threats, and manipulation to fulfill Combs' sexual gratification. The indictment said Combs' pattern of abuse included forced participation in highly orchestrated sex performances called freak-offs. Referencing the damning video of Combs shoving, kicking, and dragging Ventura in a hotel hallway back in March of 2016, footage unearthed by CNN that had made international headlines 4 months before Combs' arrest, defense attorney said Combs was coming to court a changed man. They said that he sought professional help and had gone to rehab years prior to address his substance use issues. That's interesting because didn't they in fact find a bit of 2C, okay? And that other illegal substance that has the letters X, T, and C in it. Didn't they find that at the hotel in his room? Oh, but I digress. He has done tremendous things to try to change as a person since then. This is what Agnifilo told the judge last September. He's not the same person he was then. No, I believe he isn't. I think he's worse. All right, I think he's worse. But in the days and hours leading up to Combs' arrest last fall, when he supposedly was on his best behavior, he was still acting on his worst impulses, according to prosecutors. He allegedly called and texted a potential government witness 58 times over a 4-day period, in a barrage prosecutors later labeled potential tampering. Multiple bags of a pink powder were found in his plush hotel suite, according to prosecutors, noting that the substance appeared similar to stimulants previously seized from Combs that tested positive for ecstasy and other drugs. 2 hotel employees tell the publication that a woman was waiting for Combs upstairs when he was taken into custody. The staffers who spoke on the condition of remaining anonymous said Combs and the woman had planned to celebrate her birthday, specially decorating the suite for the occasion. And we know what that means when they decorate the suites for Diddy. Please pay attention. Remember all those mirrors they put all over the place? And they have lube and stuff everywhere. I'm sure it was decorated, but I digress. Combs also had been trying to persuade a different romantic partner to come to New York that weekend, in what she now believes was an attempt to keep her silent about what transpired during their 4-year relationship. The last time the woman had seen Diddy, she said that was when he summoned her to his Miami compound last July. In this final encounter, she claims that Combs shoved 2 pills into her mouth, causing her to black out. She says she awoke to a destroyed room with empty baby oil bottles, a hookah, towels, food, and wine bottles just strewn everywhere. Are y'all listening? In the weeks following the alleged incident, the woman, who was identified by the pseudonym of Nicole, returned home and kept her distance, ignoring Diddy's pleas to come back to Miami. Yet on the eve of his arrest, Diddy reached out, saying, "I really just need you to come to New York." This is what she says he told her over the phone. She was weighing in if she should go and confront him when news broke that he had been arrested. She filed a lawsuit against him as Jane Doe for S assault and S battery, among other accusations, the next week. Now, here's why I want y'all to pay attention. I want y'all to pay attention because I'm playing angel's advocate. You see, it is my job to remain objective, okay? So with that all being said, are y'all listening to what this woman just said? She said that she was actually entertaining the idea of going to meet with Diddy when he wanted to meet with her, so she could confront him. That's what she said. She was weighing if she should go and confront him when the news broke that he was arrested. So once the news broke that he was arrested, then she went and filed a lawsuit against him the next week. Lady, you were just willing to go meet with this man that you now claim assaulted you. Now, I'm not saying that he didn't assault you, but what I'm saying is, why the hell would anybody in the right frame of mind with good old common sense want to go meet up with the person that assaulted them? How do you know they wouldn't try to do it again? How do you know they wouldn't do something worse? Wouldn't you feel that you'd be in imminent danger? Well, of course you would if you were assaulted. Don't y'all think that if this woman testifies, that's what the defense is going to ask her? I mean, it's in writing. It's right here. This is evidence. I want y'all to pay attention. And I have been telling you guys, remember you heard it here first, that all of these people going around doing interviews and talking about Diddy and what they know or knew of Diddy, those people will likely be questioned during the trial. And this woman right here just sat there and said that she was actually entertaining the idea of going to confront him when he was arrested. And the next week she filed a lawsuit. Now, don't y'all find that just a bit convenient that she filed a lawsuit a week after he was arrested? The next week? Now, she could say, well, I was scared. I filed it after he got arrested because I know he couldn't do anything. He's in jail behind bars. But lady, you're the same one who said you were actually entertaining going to visit him after you say that he popped pills in your mouth and you blacked out and woke up to a room that looked like it'd been hit by a tornado. Y'all see how this is not looking good for the Fed's case? These type of questions. I just want y'all to keep listening, because it's going to get a whole lot better, I promise you. This is literally just the tip of the iceberg. The person that I was so in love with, that I cared about like family, I'm finding out every single day that this person is a monster, she said. I was making up excuses for him drugging and assaulting me. I'm finding out that maybe I didn't know this person and I was just manipulated. Well, that's a likely story. That's a likely story. Maybe you were manipulated, or maybe now you're trying to be manipulative, is what the defense is going to say, ma'am. During Combs' final months of freedom before his arrest, with the government at his doorstep, Combs' alleged behavior continued. In the face of a rapidly developing crisis, sources say that Combs returned to his trusted playbook of pulling strings privately while outwardly projecting an image of control and calm. As he had countless times in the past, he still believed he could bend people and circumstances to his will. Now, while Combs' legal team said he had performed or reformed and proved his trustworthiness by coming to New York and therefore deserved to be released on bond, prosecutors and some in and around Combs' inner circle saw his actions as calculated and performative. It's bullish, says Nathan, an S worker who claims he was hired for several of Diddy's freak-offs and is being identified by a pseudonym for safety reasons. He's not reformed. He just wanted to get out of jail. He's the same person. It's his world. And if you get in the way, there's going to be repercussions. This is what his former executive assistant, Phil Pines, said. Y'all remember Phil Pines? I told you all about him a couple of weeks ago. Now, he will find a way to get you. He got me. He gets everybody. That's what he gets off on. Sounds plausible. Now, here's the thing. There's been hundreds of pages of court documents, transcripts, and multiple lawsuits connected with Diddy's case, in addition to interviewing Diddy's former staffers, an ex-girlfriend, and other eyewitnesses, according to this publication. They say, contrary to his claims, these documents and accounts paint a picture of a man who remained sexually abusive, volatile, and wildly manipulative long after the 2016 hotel assault that he claims is where he hit rock bottom and he had to make a change. Now, here's the thing. So during this initial report on Diddy, that uncovered a pattern of alleged abusive behavior stretching back to his college time. More than a dozen new accusers, several speaking publicly for the first time, have come forward with claims that Diddy physically attacked, drugged, and or sexually assaulted them between 2016 and 2024. So he didn't change one bit. Like I said, he seems to have gotten worse. That's my opinion. And, you know, some of this information came from the interviews that people did in the Fall of Diddy docuseries. Now, one person says, when I watched that apology video, I knew he was lying because I knew what I experienced in 2021. 5 years later, actress and model Kat Passion, or Passion, however you say her name, I think it's Passion with one S, says in the documentary, this is the one I told you all about the other day, the beautiful young lady that says she used to date Diddy off and on. In a harrowing account, she alleges that Diddy had a non-consensual sexual encounter with her. She said, I've decided to speak my truth and take my power back. This man is sick. Now I'm going to tell y'all what I think is going on in some of these cases. This is just my opinion. I can't substantiate it, but I'm going to tell you all what I think is going on in some of these cases. Some of these people were absolutely assaulted by Diddy. That's my opinion. I absolutely believe them. But some of these people, here's what I think. Here's what I think. Some of these people want money. Some of these people are clout chasing. And some of these people are pointing a finger at Diddy and saying that he did things as if they weren't consensual in the things that he did, because now they look crazy. Because now they look crazy. How do you explain the fact that you were involved with somebody like this? Because a lot of these people are going around bragging about being in relationships with Diddy, being friends with Diddy, being one of Diddy's side chicks. Some of these people are going around bragging like that was the thing. Okay, and now they're looking real crazy. So now let me just say that, oh, I was a victim too. And like I said, some of them, probably most of the ones who are lying, just want money. Because some of these people are absolutely lying. We already know that. It's already been proven. Courtney Burgess, Lamisha Fuller, Adria English. Okay. We already know some of these people are just making up stuff at the end of the day. And not just those three. There are some of these other people that have filed whole lawsuits. Because remember, Adria English had filed a lawsuit as well. Okay, so there are some more of these people that have filed lawsuits that are telling lies. And see, that's where the problem comes in. Like I keep telling you all. How do you decipher as a jury, as a member of the jury, how do you decipher who's lying and who's telling the truth? Chris says, Queen, seriously, not all victims, but Diddy, you. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And let me just tell you all something while I'm thinking about this. Remember the other day I told you all that somebody who likes to steal my talking points was saying, oh, I was the first one to report the jury was impaneled. No, I was the first one to report that. What they actually reported was that the jury was convened. Yeah, because they didn't know the difference between a jury being impaneled and one being convened. Okay. When a jury is impaneled, that's when they select the grand jury. They go and select the individuals to participate in the grand jury. When it's convened, that's when they summon those people that they already have impaneled. They summon them to come and view the evidence and hear the evidence so they can decide whether or not they have enough evidence to indict said person. That's what convening a jury is, a grand jury. I just want to make the differentiation because some people don't know that, and especially if you're listening to people who are giving you the wrong information. But let me continue. Okay, let me continue. All right. And so that all been said, that Crazy Bitch Eric said, Queen of Receipts always. Thank you, beloved. So, you know, basically, Diddy has done a lot. Okay. Now, here they say, Diddy's legal team sent over a previously issued statement talking about no matter what the lawsuits are filed, you know, we know the spill. He didn't do anything to any man, woman, or minor, any of those things. Okay. In November of 2020, Diddy needed a change of scenery. He spent the better part of the year holed up at home due to the stupid 19 restrictions, and he was itching to skip town. He wanted a 51st birthday party in paradise. He called up his closest celebrity friends, who are now mysteriously quiet. Mary J. Blige, French Montana. They loaded up his private jet and headed to Turks and Caicos. Guests were given tie-dye sweatsuits with the Diddy 51 stamped on the front, the same logo that was engraved on coconut drinks that people sipped as they partied on the beach. Clearly living his best life. Off camera in the background of many videos documenting the trip's festivities was a gaunt and stressed Pines, 39 years old, who was still reeling from an experience that he just had with Diddy. A few days prior, according to Pines, a belligerent Diddy had coerced him into sex with a female guest, leaving him stunned and distraught. I don't believe that. I don't believe this dude. And even somebody pointed out the fact that his name is Philip Pines, like the Philippines. That's literally how he spells it. Was a little suspicious, but he said that Diddy made him have relations with his female guests. How does somebody make you do that, sir? Did they put a gun to your head or a knife? How did you get it up? How did you get your soldier at attention to do so if you were forced? I would just think that that would make you not able to stand at attention. But hey, I don't know. But for some reason, I don't believe this dude. But let's continue. Now, since 2017, Pines had been in Combs' orbit, working with one of Combs' ancillary businesses before becoming his personal assistant in December of 2019. He wanted to be a music supervisor and jumped at the opportunity to learn from a man he considered a hero. But after 2 years of working closely with Diddy, Pines now winces when he hears his former boss's voice over a recording played for him. That's a bit dramatic, but let's continue. He says he's a predator in all shapes and fashions. I mean that in an sexually charged way. I mean that in a manipulation way. He's just out for people. It's always about him. Pines discovered right from the beginning that working for Diddy was all-consuming. He needed to be on call 24/7 as Combs and senior members of his team would send him constant directives. Some days it might be work connected with a product launch. Others, it was about a guest coming to one of Combs' many residences. A month or so in, Pines says in the documentary, Combs gave him a startling new task: procure a specific and lengthy list of items for what Combs would call Wild King Nights. Now, I believe that. But here's the thing. Let me show you all this guy. He looks like he's from the Philippines, too. Now, I really have questions. Is that even his real birth name? Y'all look at this dude and tell me he don't look Filipino. Y'all see that? Okay, so like I said, I have several questions. Now, so he says he struggles to describe dealing with the aftermath of what he refers to in his lawsuit as days-long sexual escapades. Not only was the duty in itself demoralizing, he says, but the rooms he'd walked into were scenes of complete disgusting squalor. There'd be shattered glass, bodily fluid, and blood-stained linens, used up prophylactics, half-eaten food, and drugs out of the open. You could slip because there was baby oil all over the floor, he explains. When I would go into those rooms, it's like no one had any consciousness of what took place, meaning that everything was everywhere. Now, that's what he said. I'm going to stop right there. That's what he had to say. But here's the thing. Bree said that's El DeBarge's cousin. Okay, he looks like him. But here's the thing, though. It's easy for him to say all this after the fact, but sir, you weren't forced to work for Diddy. You could have quit at any time. You could have resigned or whatever. You could have found another job. At the end of the day, he worked there because he wanted to. That's just my opinion. Okay, at the end of the day. And what do you think the defense is going to ask him if he gets up there on the witness stand? Okay, you were so disgusted by the squalor and the depraved acts that were going on, to which you claim that you, sir, were forced to participate in. Why did you stay employed by Diddy? Why did you continue to work for him? That's what they're going to ask. And that's also what I'm asking. But anyway, I digress. Now let's talk about it, because they also report that the prosecutors say that Sean Diddy Combs distributed meth, hallucinogens in the new indictment. Superseding indictment does not name more defendants, but accuses Combs of victimizing 2 additional women. And that's the thing. It doesn't name more people. Okay, remember the other day when I had Gavin Richard on here? Doesn't name more defendants. And remember I told you all, or I asked Gavin, because I'd already said this myself. How is Diddy in a RICO by himself? How are you in a RICO all by yourself when you have a allegedly have a criminal enterprise. Do y'all don't think that's strange? That nobody else is indicted? Hold on. Miss Sheila says, Queen, these people are not thinking the defense is going to grill them. Exactly. You see, here's what's going on. Thank you for your insight to the topic. Here's what's going on. Now, like I told you guys before, a lot of these people are just out here telling lies on Diddy because they think Diddy's in jail. He can't do anything about it. And there's so many people already accusing him. So let me just throw my hat into the ring. I'm going to accuse him too, and I'm going to get me some of that money. Not really thinking that they might end up on trial or at the trial testifying, okay? And then getting grilled during cross-examination by the defense. And that's when the lies are going to start falling apart. See, it's easy to sit there and lie when you're doing an interview. It's easy to sit there and lie when you're just talking to one person by yourself. But getting up there in front of a room full of court spectators, the jury sitting there listening to your every word that falls from your lips to decipher whether or not you're being honest, whether or not you have any credibility, or whether or not you're just lying. That is not so easy to do. Okay? And this is the main reason why they tell people who are accused specifically of heinous crimes as Diddy, this is why their attorneys tell them not to testify in your own defense. Even if you're going to tell the truth, it's just not a good thing to do. That's why they tell them to sit down somewhere. Don't go up there and testify if you're accused of murder. If you're accused of all the things Diddy's accused of, don't go up there and testify. But Diddy's already said that he's going to. See, his lawyers can't reel him in. He thinks he knows everything and that he's the smartest person in every room that he enters. That's what he thinks. But he's going to be in for a rude awakening. Because here's the thing. At the end of the day, Ms. Sheila said these networks are getting in on the money train too. They want to check too. Yeah, of course they are. Absolutely. I believe all of it, beloved. But hold on. Let's go back to these drugs. In a new superseded indictment filed Thursday, prosecutors expanded their trafficking and racketeering against Sean Diddy Combs, claiming he coerced 2 additional women into commercial sex acts, dangled a victim over a hotel balcony, and possessed and intended to distribute 2 new drugs not listed in his original indictment, meth and psilocin, both hallucinogens. Okay. Now, the 15-page indictment obtained by Rolling Stone did not name any new co-defendants or add additional counts against Combs. No additional accounts. Now, I want you all to think about that. Y'all don't think this is all suspicious? They didn't name any new defendants, and they didn't even add any more counts. What the hell do they have the superseded indictment for? Because I thought that when the superseded indictment comes out, that's when they're going to hit him with the real charges. Because that first indictment was bullshit, and they know it. Now, y'all don't think that's suspicious? Y'all don't think there's some type of cover-up going on here? I want you all to pay attention. I want you all to pay attention because there's some shady things going on. I've been right about the feds all along as far as I'm concerned. Okay? For one, let's talk about Damian Williams, who's now resigned. Damian Williams, who was the former district attorney for the Southern District of New York, who was the one that had Diddy indicted. Okay. Did y'all know that that's the same man? Let me pull up some information on him. Did y'all know that he's the same man who was in charge of the Ghislaine Maxwell case? Did y'all know that? I remember when he was sworn in 2021. Sitting up there talking about they had a whole write-up. First Black Manhattan U.S. attorney sworn into office announces new civil rights unit. It all sounded good. See, that's why you can't believe these politicians, okay? A district attorney, that's absolutely a political position. Now, with that all being said, in a ceremony at the Harlem Armory, Williams said that under his leadership, the office will prioritize, among other issues, what he called civil rights enforcement. You know, and I know that we're living in troubled times, he said. White supremacist groups are on the march. Anti-Semitism is on the march. Anti-Asian bias is on the march. Abuse of the most vulnerable in our society is on the march. So I am proud to announce today that I have created a brand new civil rights unit in the criminal division of my office. The new unit will build on work and existing civil rights until or it should be working an existing civil rights unit in the office's civil division, and it will be carried out, or it should be carried out for decades, he said. Okay, then he resigned. Now, you know, many people thought that he resigned because Trump won the election and that Trump was going to replace him anyway. And, you know, that's likely why he resigned. But a person who's an author who wrote a book talking about the trafficking of children seems to think that maybe Mr. Damian Williams' resignation had something to do with him putting him on blast, saying that he covered up things in the Ghislaine Maxwell case. Yeah, I want y'all to think about that. The charges against Ghislaine Maxwell in her federal trafficking trial. Explained. Now, here's the thing. What I always thought was interesting, and I've said this all to you a million times. So Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein were running this whole trafficking business, but yet nobody was arrested but them. Nobody was brought to justice but them. And here's the thing. We also know that Jeffrey Epstein was dealing with people that were not of age. So the people that were coming to him to get clients, or who were his clients, that were coming to him to procure these people that he was trafficking, they were coming to get people who were not of age. How many of those people were there that were coming to Jeffrey Epstein? Well, I'm going to give you an idea because I have the receipts. You see, I happen to have Jeffrey Epstein's black book. Okay, we're going to talk about that in a second. I came with receipts today. I just want y'all to pay attention and remember, you heard all of this here first. Now, Ghislaine Maxwell was found guilty on five of 6 counts in her federal trial in New York related to what prosecutors said were her efforts to groom and traffic underage girls to be abused by her close companion, Jeffrey Epstein. See, they're acting like she was just doing this so Jeffrey Epstein could abuse these girls. But no, they were both accused of trafficking. So they were pimping these girls out to other people. Who are those other people? We never were able to find out. Now, she had pleaded not guilty to 6 federal counts of trafficking of a minor, enticing a minor to travel to engage in criminal sexual assault or activity, transporting a minor with the intent to engage in criminal sexual activity, and 3 counts of conspiracy. She was acquitted on the charge of enticing a minor to travel to engage in illegal acts. The jury made up of 6 men and 6 women, reached the verdict. Okay. Well, now we know that she got 20 years. The most serious charge against Maxwell was trafficking a minor, a charge punishable by up to 40 years in prison. Trafficking applies to anyone who knowingly in or affecting interstate commerce recruits, entices, harbors, transports, provides, or obtains by any means a person knowing that the person has not attained the age of 18 years and will be caused to engage in a commercial act. These are the instructions that they explained to the jury. Okay. So with that all being said, Damian Williams was ahead of that. And why is that so important? Because he's the one, like I said, that spearheaded this case against Diddy. And in that case against Ghislaine Maxwell, he did not indict one other person. He did not arrest one other person who was allegedly going to Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein to get these young girls who were being trafficked by them. Y'all don't see that's a problem? That's a cover-up. They're not going to call it that, but when they don't give us the names of these people and then they act like we didn't see them on video walking out of there on their body cams and all that, walking up out of there with all those boxes of video footage. We never heard anything else about the video footage. It was a whole cover up. And y'all don't think that's the same thing going on right now here with Diddy? Yeah, I absolutely believe it is. Now they're saying now they charge Diddy with distributing illegal substances, or they added that into the indictment. That's what they say. They added that into the indictment. Instead, it added new allegations under count 1, the charged racketeering conspiracy. The document also expanded the time frame of the alleged conspiracy, saying that it started in at least 2004. The prior date was 2008. You see, they're playing in our faces. Now, they had us sitting here waiting all this time for a superseded indictment where we can get some real meat and potatoes and find out what's really going down and what Diddy's really going to be hit with. Only for them to come back and say, you know what? Listen, this is what we found, folks. We found out that he was, in fact, selling illegal drugs, but that's going to fall under the racketeering that he's already charged for. And then where there was a couple of more victims, we'll include them. But another thing is, instead of saying it started in 2008, it actually started 4 years earlier. That's all they got. Y'all don't find that suspicious? Y'all don't find that suspicious? Okay, but enough about Diddy. Let's talk about Clive Davis. Let's talk about Clive Davis. Did y'all know Clive Davis is a whole crook? Clive Davis is a whole damn crook. Okay? I want y'all to pay attention. Noah said the gun charge. Right. Because they found weapons with no serial numbers. Listen to this. Clive Davis, first of all, was in trouble with the IRS. Okay? He was in trouble with the IRS for tax evasion or something like that. Hold on, let me just look it up real quick. I don't want to misspeak. But I mean, that's not even the worst of it. The thing is, at the end of the day, who gets in trouble with the IRS more than once and doesn't go to jail? I have several questions. Here it is. Tax evasion. 1976, Clive Davis pleaded guilty to evading taxes. For 1972, he was accused of failing to report $8,800 in taxable income, including money from paid vacation trips. Davis was given a suspended sentence and no probation. No probation. The judge said that Davis was the victim of unfair publicity that linked him to organized crime in payola. That's because he was involved in organized crime in payola. I want y'all to pay attention. The judge said that he was a victim of unfair publicity that linked him to organized crime in payola. He linked himself to organized crime in payola. He linked himself to organized crime in payola. Let's talk about it because y'all know what payola is. Payola is when you go around offering money to radio stations so they'll play songs and whatnot, and that's illegal. Clive Davis ousted, payola cover-up. He was charged. Clive Davis was a genius in the music business, and this is from 1973. Yeah, I went way back. Please pay attention. Clive Davis was a genius in the music or in the business of selling records. He influenced the course of the industry in 1967 when he virtually wiped out Min0r records by moving to only the stereo price. At the time, $4.79. The move caused confusion at first when its implied obsolescence of mono. But within a year, Columbia was claiming an overall profit on the move. Always claiming records to be the entertainment field's best, most durable buy, Clive Davis then tested variable pricing certain albums at $5.79, list depending on demand and cost factors. Now, he succeeded in getting gold albums on the first 3 tries, The Graduate, Bookends, and Cheap Thrills. And Davis took CBS into the retailing business by acquiring two chains, Discount Records and Pacific Stereo. And while it was Liberson who first suggested Davis go to the Monterey Pop Festival in 1967, Goddard always liked the area and had attended the jazz festival there himself. Davis on his own did become an aggressive part of the rock scene, signing as many important artists as he did duds, making much more money than the amounts that he reported spending. Columbia *1 was an easy target, kind of like the Yankees, as West Coast producer Paul Barretta put it. And Clive may have been guilty of arrogance and a Yankee-sized ego. Now, people told stories about how he tried to reorganize a song for Jackson Browne as a favor, how he refused to join in the celebration of Woodstock. And by hold it, okay, I don't even know why they got all this in here. Hold on, let me just get past all of it. So basically, Clive Davis was involved in a payola scheme, and guess who was involved in it with him? The Genovese crime mob family, that too. Okay, the Genovese crime mob family was involved in that with him. So when they're saying to you that Clive Davis was, or the judge is saying that he was linked through publicity, well, here's the thing. Now, here's what they report. Without any hold on. They say Davis's involvement in anything close to a drug ring. Now, they try to say there was no proof that he was involved in it. Okay. Without any proof that he was involved in a drug ring, tagged its first piece. This is a publication called Variety. They say they tagged its first piece on the president's firing with 2 paragraphs relating to industry payola rumors of that year. Gossip columnist Earl Wilson saw a possible government connection, writing that President Nixon may have found some consolation for one thing in show business. A reported federal look into the music business may produce some competitive headlines involving narcotics, payola, kickbacks, and some tax evasions. Okay, so drugs, kickbacks, and not paying your taxes. Right, especially the belief the belief that heroin and Coca-Cola had been used for payola purposes for sweetening up certain top artists or their agents. Okay, so goes on to say, from the first rumors, there was talk of a receptionist named Fran, reportedly constantly doped up at work at CBS and fired. Now, there was talk of Frank Campana, who'd worked at Columbia and been a friend of a man named Pat. Pat later the name Falcone, supposedly known in mafia circles. That name came up. These men reportedly knew Winshaw, and one of them, it was known, had been busted along with Fran. Finally, 1 week after Clive Davis's dismissal, a February 6th bust of a major international heroin smuggling operation, it came back into the spotlight. The bust of a reported $15 million operation centered in Montreal involved a Francine Berger, age 30, listed as the operator of a fried chicken stand. A federal grand jury in Newark indicted 8 persons in the case, busted open reportedly by use of the telephone. One of the others was Pasquale Falcone, 41 years old, also known as Patsy or Pat. He had identified himself as a manager of Lynn Anderson and Tommy Cash. Okay, I'm not going to read all of this, but here's the bottom line. This dude, Falcone, he was, according to sources close to the Justice Department, described as a member of the Vito Genovese family. Okay, that's how that goes. And Clive Davis was absolutely linked to this man and the Genovese crime family. Okay, they had a whole relation, is all I'm saying. Now, they're going to sit here and try to act like Clive Davis only got involved in this, through publicity, rumors. No, he had ties to these people. Okay, please pay attention. All right, that Crazy Rich Air said that sounds oh so ghetto. That's because it is ghetto. That's because it absolutely is. Okay, I want y'all to pay attention. And here's the thing. There's another article that I found from 1973 that says, in 1973, Clive Davis, president of CBS Music Group, was fired amidst an investigation into a heroin smuggling ring involving Patsy Falcone, a member of the Genovese crime family. Okay, so, and there's a whole slew of articles that I found about this, is all I'm saying. So I just want you all to think about that. In 1973, Clive Davis was allegedly tied to the Genovese crime family by way of a man by the name of Patsy or Pat Falcone, who was charged with distributing heroin and Coca-Cola in the amount of $15 million. Now I want y'all to think about that, because $15 million is a whole lot of money in this day and age. Imagine how much it was worth back then in 1973. Okay, in 1973. So with that all being said, I want you all to pay attention. If they covered for him back then, well, they're still covering for him now, and even more so, because now he's in his 90s. Isn't Clive like 91 years old? And now he's a whole legend in the music industry. He's a mogul in all of that. Y'all don't think this man's protected? If there's anything that Diddy has on Clive Davis, that's never going to see the light of day. That's never going to see the light of day. And here's the thing. Diddy might just get the same deal that Ghislaine Maxwell got. See, Ghislaine Maxwell got 20 years, right? She got 20 years, but guess what? She's serving her 20 years at Club Fed. That's what they call it. She's serving her 20 years at Club Fed. Now, y'all know the feds that prison system is nothing like state prison systems. And you all also know that when people who have all this money, which Ghislaine Maxwell comes from money, when people have all this money or they're like in the mob and all these things, they have a plush time while they're there. Okay? They have a very plush time while they're there at the end of the day. But hold on. Hold on. Let's go to Jeffrey Epstein's phone list, his black book. Because like I told you guys, what I found interesting was all the names on it. Now, mind you, the phone numbers are redacted. But I'm sure that most of you or all of you have never seen anybody with this many phone numbers in their black book. And that's because these were likely his clients. Okay? Please pay attention. Can y'all see that? And again, the numbers are redacted. Y'all see all these phone numbers? All this is in his black book, Epstein's black book. Y'all see this, right? Now, what I want you to do is as you look at all these names, I want you to think to yourself, what if every last one of these names was somebody who was an Epstein client? And then tell me how the hell the government didn't commit a whole cover-up in Epstein's case. Because we don't know who any of the people were that were getting those children from him. You see how it's still going? When's it going to stop? Think about it. Jeffrey Epstein was doing these things for decades. How long is his client list? All of these people are still walking free till this day. Till this day. All of these people still walking free until this day. People who engage in the abuse, the abuse of minors, it's still going. Y'all see this? Do y'all see this? Do y'all see this? And y'all mean to tell me the same thing isn't going on with the case of Diddy? 97 pages. 97 pages. 97 pages. Who the hell has 97 pages of names and numbers in their black book? But here's the other thing. Jeffrey Epstein was supposedly blackmailing many of those people. That's why they took those videotapes out of his residence. Remember when I told you all, I showed you all the video, them walking out, feds walking out with all those boxes and boxes of videotapes? We never heard anything else about that. We didn't hear anything else about that. Yeah, that's what we didn't hear. And here's another thing. There was a man, I can't remember his name, but there was a man who said, oh my God, what is that man's name? Let me see if I wrote it down. This guy, what is his name? This guy basically said, was it Frank Walsh? Hold on. Well, anyway, what I was going to say is this guy said that when it came to the Jeffrey Epstein case, he was pretty much told, it wasn't Frank Walsh. He said he was told that Jeffrey Epstein was intelligence. That's what he said he was told. According to Nick Bryant, the author, he said that Jeffrey Epstein was intelligence, that he was told to back off. Now, also remember how Jeffrey Epstein was arrested on charges of these same sort of accusations, and I think it was in 2005, somewhere around there in Florida, right? And then he still was free to do the things that he did. Like, that's real crazy. Hold on. This came out 3 hours ago. Prince Andrew emails show contact with Epstein lasted beyond 2010. Oh, well, what do you know? I found this completely by accident. I was trying to find the guy who made that comment saying that he was told to fall back off of Epstein because he's intelligence. Okay? Now, if he is or was intelligence, is he even really dead? Now I have even more questions. The Duke of York was in contact with a U.S. offender, Jeffrey Epstein, longer than he had previously admitted, according to emails published in court documents. Keep in close touch and we'll play some more soon. That's what one email said. Okay. The court documents from the UK's Financial Conduct Authority, FCA, show the email as being sent February 2011. Well, you know, I already knew Prince Andrew was likely lying about some things. I already pretty much knew he was lying about some things because, I mean, the evidence was there as far as I was concerned. But don't y'all find that interesting? And then another thing that's interesting is the fact that Damian Williams, the former prosecutor, like I said, was over Ghislaine Maxwell's case. And then we already see how that turned out. She's at Club Fed living her best life that you can live while in prison. Okay. But nonetheless, nobody else charged. None of those people even names. Okay. None of that brought forward. It's going to be the same case with Diddy. And that's what I've been telling you all the whole time. It's going to be the same exact case with Diddy. They're not going to bring down Clive Davis. That man's 90-something years old. And he's already lived his life of crime as far as they're concerned. And they covered for him then. They're going to cover for him now. Allegedly. Okay. I just want y'all to pay attention. But hold on. Let me go to this video I have for you all. I want y'all to hear this. Okay. I'm going to share my screen, but I'm going to put up an overlay. I'm going to put up an overlay. I got this off of Facebook. Hold on. Where's my Diddy overlay? Oh, here it is. Okay, likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Thank you in advance.
P. Diddy has been getting away with all kinds of stuff. There was that shooting that he walked from. We've seen some clips of him beating on women. I mean, that's pretty standard operating procedure for him. But now there's 8 lawsuits that have been filed against him for sexual assault. And then in 1993, he and Clive Davis founded Bad Boy Records. Clive Davis, how do you describe Clive Davis? There's an infomercial about him now, which is a document. It's being called a documentary. And it makes him look like this benign octogenarian that's helped all these rock stars with their careers. But people in the music industry really don't like Clive Davis, most of them. And his criminality is kind of amazing. He got busted. He's been for filing false tax returns 3 times and then defrauding the IRS 3 times. He was involved in the biggest payola scandal. That's when record companies give money to radio stations to play their songs. Mm-hmm. He was part of the biggest payola scandal of all time as president of ABC Records. And then there was a Genovese crime guy named Pasquale Falcone, and he got busted smuggling 22 pounds of heroin into the United States. And the Justice Department started digging into him, and they came across all these shell companies that he headed. And Clive Davis was funneling money from ABC Records to these shell companies.
Okay, y'all heard that? Clive Davis was funneling money from ABC Records to the shell companies. Now, I already told you all that's what Diddy's been doing. I already told you all that Diddy has shell companies. okay, hiding money. At the end of the day, I also told you that the fact that they mentioned money laundering in Diddy's case and his mother, Janice Combs, having things in her name could also be indicted. At the end of the day, I just want you all to pay attention. Now, Clive Davis engaging in all of these things, but never spent a day in jail. Okay, please pay attention. And what happened to Whitney Houston? I have several questions.
So I've just told you about 2 decades worth of criminality by Clive Davis. And that guy has not spent one night in jail. That's what's amazing about him. So in 1993, I think he takes P. Diddy by the hand and they get on the yellow brick road. And P. Diddy has been engaged in all kind of criminal behavior, but nothing has come out. And I believe for Clive Davis, this is just my surmise, for a guy to commit as many felonies as he's committed and not spend a day in jail, I believe he's working for the government on some level as an informant. I mean, who knows? But so he
an informant for what? What makes you think he's working for the government?
I would say like an informant for the FBI, or
for what? What would they be collecting?
I mean, a guy in that position, I'm sure, has quite a panoramic view of certain types of corruption and criminality.
Where? In what realm?
In the music realm.
Do you think the FBI is actually interested in the music realm?
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of laws on the books about what people could, like the payola scandal. It's against the law for people to give money, for record companies to give money to radio stations.
Okay. Now, y'all heard that. Now, the guys that's doing the interview seemed like he didn't really think that Clive would be working for the feds. Okay. But let's not forget that former CIA agents have come out, because speaking of Jeffrey Epstein, the guy said Jeffrey Epstein, he was told that he was intelligence. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what the man said, that he was told to back down, fall back, because he's intelligence. Now, the thing is, if that were true, I wouldn't be shocked, because there are former CIA agents who come out and said things about the same things that Diddy's accused of. They've come out and talked about these things. I have the videos. I'm not going to show them on ScrewTube, but I do have the video footage of a former CIA agent saying exactly that. And he's not the only one. There's been others, but I just happen to have video footage of this one. So I just want you all to pay attention. Like, this all seems like a whole shady cover-up as far as I'm concerned, because they're trying to protect certain people. Okay? At the end of the day. And now what they're doing is, in my opinion, they're putting the squeeze on Diddy, because Diddy won't give them what they want, and that's those tapes. Diddy won't tell them where the rest of the tapes are. And now they're putting the squeeze on it. That's what that is, in my opinion. And this is also, in my opinion, as I said before, why Diddy has never been given a bail. You think they're worried about Diddy out here threatening folks or whatever? They're more concerned about the footage, and they want it so that they can get rid of it. Now, that's my opinion. I can't prove any of this, but that's absolutely what I think, because isn't that what they did in the Epstein case? Yeah, it is, because we never saw that footage. They literally had to have gotten rid of it. Where is it? How come there's no list of these people that were going back and forth to Epstein Island? That fake list that they sent out, where there was 900 something pages. And trust me, I read through it. I didn't read the whole 900 some pages, but I read enough to know that all they were doing was giving us court transcripts. Okay? At the end of the day. And here's the thing. The man that you heard speaking, who wrote a book, I forget the name of it, but it was about trafficking of children. Well, at the end of the day, you know, he says that Jeffrey Epstein was doing this stuff for decades. And of course he was. Says that Diddy's been doing this stuff for decades. And I'm pretty sure he was. Okay, that's why he has all these allegations. But just look at the similarities in the cases, which I've already told you all that from day one. I told you all that from day one. I did a whole video about the Jeffrey Epstein and Diddy connection, and the fact that Ronald Burkle, who was allegedly Diddy's sugar daddy at some point, was in Epstein's little black book. His name was in there. So you don't think that Diddy knew Epstein too, was hanging out with him and probably going to Epstein Island? I absolutely believe it. Okay, I absolutely believe it. And so anyway, this is all crazy. Now, God at first, hold on. God Child First says Diddy is a distraction. All ask ourselves why and what are they hiding? It's way bigger. We must protect the children. They're all in it together. Yeah, I've been saying that forever. I've been saying that since 2020, that they're all in it together. Absolutely. Okay. You have politicians, you have law enforcement, you have government agencies, you have all of that. Okay, these people, there's been people that's come out and blown the whistle and said they were all involved in it. Let's not forget that it was July of 2023 when I told you, you heard it here first, that Tara Rodis, who was working during the Biden administration, supposedly helping to get migrant children to get sponsors. And then she came out and blew the whistle, testified before Congress that these children were being given to people who were traffickers. That's who they were being given to. And then we wonder why they say 320,000 migrant children came up missing under Biden's watch. Under Biden's watch. You see the list of names and the ranks of the people involved in certain things. I'm sure it goes a whole lot higher than Diddy. Of course. I mean, Clive Davis is way above Diddy. At the end of the day, Lucian Grange, and I'm not saying they're involved in the trafficking or any of that, but I believe they are. I believe they are. I can't substantiate it. But at the end of the day, I've been telling you guys that Clive Davis, in my opinion, trained Diddy to be the person that he is. That he learned some of this from his mother, Janice Combs, who was alleged to have told him to cozy up to the older white men in the industry so he can get what he wants. Whom allegedly, according to one of Diddy's childhood friends, was throwing freak-off type parties. And here's another thing. You know, one of these people that was connected to Clive Davis, one of these members of the Genovese family, if I'm not mistaken, they were also known to have these sex parties, just like Diddy. See, this stuff has been going on. If you all remember, I told you all the story of Fatty Arbuckle, who was having freak-offs, going to a whole freak-off where a woman turned up dead, and he got off because he too was protected. Fatty Arbuckle was a big thing back in his day. If y'all remember that story, if you missed it, go back and look. It's still on this channel. A freak-off that resulted in murder. I think that's the title of it. So with that all being said, this stuff has been going on. This is nothing new, but there's always been certain people that will not ever be exposed. Okay? There's some people that are never going to be called out. There's going to always be someone or some group of people to cover for them. All right? And here's the thing. Now, at the time of Diddy's rage, just to further, let's talk about Damian Williams, because another thing that Nick said, the author, that you were just listening to, another thing that he said was that, you know, all of these people that were covering for Diddy likely were doing so because Diddy was working with the feds. And then we already had, you know, other information that would lead us to think that Diddy was absolutely working with the feds. And I'm sorry, that's a misquote. That's not from Nick. That's not from Nick. I read that in another publication. But nonetheless, we pretty much have known that Diddy was working with the feds. But what Nick did say is that Damian Williams, who's the former prosecutor who spearheaded this whole thing against Diddy, well, he basically talked about how this man had done certain things in the Ghislaine Maxwell case. And as we can see, like I told you, many of those people have never been named, no charges ever brought forth. So that is pretty much how this is all going to turn out, I'm pretty sure, at the end of the day, okay? At the end of the day. And not to mention, Jeffrey Epstein was blackmailing people, just like Diddy has been accused of, holding those videotapes over their heads. Now, the thing is, when Jeffrey Epstein got caught He started talking. And how do we know he started talking? Well, I'm so glad you asked, because it was reported that there was a list of 100 names that Jeffrey Epstein gave. Then when he turned up dead, those names were sealed by a judge. And none of those people ever brought to justice. So there was at least 100 names that Jeffrey Epstein started talking about. Okay. And when he started talking, that looks like that's when he turned up dead. And of course, they say he did it to himself, but did he? I have several questions. Okay. I have several questions at the end of the day. So, you know, this is a whole lot bigger than Diddy. Diddy is the sacrificial lamb because, quite frankly, the other people who likely aided and abetted, taught Diddy the game, had everything to do with this, they're not going to come after them. They're not going to come after them. They haven't come after them in all these decades when they've been allegedly doing dirt. They're not going to come after them now. Okay? Because Diddy doesn't have the complexion for the protection. See, Diddy doesn't have the complexion for the protection. And the fact that he has the footage wherever it is, and the feds want it, and he's not willing to give it to them, because here's the thing, that's his leverage. If he gives it to them, then what? Then they can do whatever they want to him. He could turn up like Epstein. Okay? He could turn up like Epstein. Or they could just give him a life sentence if he gives them the footage. The only card that Diddy has right now to play is to be keeping that footage. And I'm willing to bet that's exactly what he's doing. Okay? The Castaway said, read Hollywood Babylon for the Arbuckle story. Well, I already told the Arbuckle story, beloved. I literally just said that I did a whole video about it. I already know the Arbuckle story. Okay? I already read the Arbuckle story. That's why I reported on it. Now, with that all being said, but thank you for that insight into the topic. Auntie Liz said the complexion for the protection is lacking. Okay? This is all nefarious. Joy says, wow, with everything hidden on the federal level, the truth remains hidden. Yeah, exactly. Okay? They want to get that footage so they can do a cleanup job, so they can get rid of that evidence. That's my opinion. And here's the thing. When they raided Diddy's cell, when they went to that jail under the guise that they're trying to find out about inmates turning up dead and contraband been smuggled in and all of that stuff, I told you all they were targeting Diddy. Remember, you heard that here first, too. I told you all they were going there to target Diddy. Now, what I actually thought was that they were going in to scope out the place so they can see how Diddy could come up accidentally deceased. Okay? A good way for Diddy to come up deceased. That's what I thought they initially went there for. But now it looks like they went there absolutely to target Diddy. But I think they went in there and took pictures of his private notes and all that stuff, hoping that they would find some clue as to where the videotapes were or are. That's what I think that was all about. Trying to find some clue as to where Diddy has that footage, hoping that he was talking to his defense team about it, that they know where the bones are buried, and hoping they can find that out by going in that information. And now they say, oh, we're not going to use it in court anyway. Yeah, I'm sure you're not, because it's fruits of the poisonous tree for one, but for two, you didn't find what you were looking for. Okay, y'all think they went there to find out if Diddy was intimidating witnesses? Hell, they knew he was intimidating witnesses. They knew he was. Okay, they knew he was. What else is he going to do? People with power and privilege, that's what they do. They offer money to people to silence them. And they use threats of coercion and all sorts of things, bodily harm, to get people to shut up, not say anything. So they already knew that. They didn't go in there to look for that. That's not what they were looking for. They were looking for any information, any inkling of a clue that could lead them to those videotapes. Okay? That's what that was all about. That's what that was all about, I promise you. And now that we know that Clive Davis is a whole crook, allegedly involved with a Genovese crime mob family, no less. Yeah, definitely protected. Okay, please pay attention. And let's not forget who Clive Davis really is. Okay, Clive Davis is one of those people. He's one of those people, and y'all know what people I'm talking about. Okay, you really think they're going to bring him down? I can tell you they're not. Okay, Anita said, we heard it all here first by the queen of receipts. Thank you, beloved. I appreciate you. Zara said, who on the tapes? That's a good question. I tell you what, whoever's on there is who the feds don't want to be exposed. Okay? That's who they don't want to be exposed. Vince I.M. said, wigs are us. Hashtag you heard it here first. Y'all are terrible. God Child First said, bigger than that, there is a way larger evil agenda at play. Ritualistic dark magic is being used. Absolutely it is. Abso-freaking-lutely. That is without a shadow of a doubt. Now, we've talked about that on here too, beloved. You might be new to this channel, but please go back and find the video that I did about Diddy and him doing this ritual to the Roman god, the ancient Roman god Bacchus. Okay, when they used to have bacchanalias, which today is known as freak-offs. It's the same thing. A festival of orgies where people engaging in illicit acts and, you know, just getting indulging in things that alter one's mind is what I'll say. Yeah, so they were doing those things. And Diddy was allegedly, according to an inside source, doing rituals to this. Okay? And also doing some Santeria and voodoo that he likely learned from J-Lo. Okay, because J-Lo's first husband already came out and said that she was doing Santeria rituals that involved spilling the blood of poultry. And by that, I mean chickens. So yeah, absolutely dark magic is involved. This is all nothing new. Okay, it's just all getting more nefarious as the days go by. And here's the thing. People think that, you know, Trump's going to come and drain the swamp. People have been saying that since 2020, since that election. Oh, Trump's coming, he's going to drain the swamp. Nobody's coming to save you. Okay, nobody's coming to save you. Trump is a part of the swamp. Make no mistake. Trump is a part of the swamp. How's he going to come save anybody? Wasn't Trump friends with Epstein at some point? Wasn't he also friends with Diddy at some point? Trump said he's going to release the flight logs for Epstein. Is that what he said? Okay, I'll believe it when I see it. That's when I'll believe it, when I actually see it. Okay? That's when I will believe it. Is he going to put out some information on Diddy? If he does, I guarantee you Lucian Grange and Clive Davis's names won't be on there. Ronald Burkle's name won't be on there. Okay? So that's all I'm willing to bet. I don't believe it. God Child First said next Trump is going to give black people reparations. Don't be fooled, people. That's what you think? Yeah, okay. Not going to happen. Absolutely not going to happen. Trump's not giving us reparations. Nobody is. Okay, we can get that thought out of our minds. All right, Sheila says billionaires don't be rich without doing messy deeds. They have to keep the wealth flowing. I agree. Most billionaires have done some shady things to get their money. That's my belief. I could be wrong. I won't even say most. I'll say some. Okay, I'll say some. Coco T said he would have to remove himself from the. Hold on. Coco T said he would have to remove himself from the flight list first. Very likely. That's what I'm talking about. But see, people sitting up here listening to the foolishness. At the end of the day, Trump's not coming to save y'all. Okay, get it out of your heads. All right, that's what he's not going to do. April said, not holding my breath. Exactly, and I'm not either. Cheryl said, ain't no reparations coming. You're absolutely right. Chris Y said, Trump was in many videos hanging with Epstein. Yep, he said some of the lists was BS. Yeah, his name. Right, he said some of the list was BS. Okay, how do we know that it was BS? Trump, I have several questions. Terry says we're in spiritual warfare. Yeah, you already know. We absolutely are. Okay, we absolutely are in spiritual warfare, beloveds. With that all being said, I think I'm about to conclude this broadcast. But let me just make sure. I think this is the man's name. Hold on. Yep. The man who said that he was told to fall back on Jeffrey Epstein. I knew I had his name. His name is Alexander Acosta. Epstein accusers denied compensation in victims' rights case. Labor Secretary Acosta resigns amid criticism over Epstein deal. Yeah, that's why he resigned. That's why he resigned. Okay, please pay attention. But guess what? Hold on. We're going to go to his resignation. I mean, he literally did it on the White House lawn.
So, Mr. President, how do you think your labor secretary did?
I think he was a great labor secretary, not a good labor secretary. He's done a fantastic job. He's a friend of everybody in the administration. And I got a call this morning early from Alex. And I think he did a very good job yesterday. Under a lot of pressure, he did a fantastic job. And he explained it. And he made a deal that people were happy with. And then 12 years later, they're not happy with it. You'll have to figure all of that out. But the fact is, he has been a fantastic Secretary of Labor. And Alex called me this morning and he wanted to see me. And I actually said, well, we have the press right out here. So perhaps you just want to say it to the press. But I just want to let you know, this was him, not me, because I'm with him. He's a tremendous talent. He's a Hispanic man. He went to Harvard, a great student. And in so many ways, I just hate what he's saying now because we're going to miss him. But please, Alex.
Thank you, Mr. President. Over the last week, I've seen a lot of coverage of the Department of Labor. And what I have not seen is the incredible job creation that we've seen in this economy, more than 5 million jobs. I haven't seen that workplace injuries are down, bucking a 3-year trend. Workplace fatalities are down, bucking a 3-year trend. That we had the safest year ever in mining, the lowest number of fatalities ever.
Okay. At the end of the day, here's the thing. Let me just tell you all what they said about this man. Now, mind you, I think that he received some threats because he said he was told to fall back. All right? But here's what they say. A Justice Department report has found that former Labor Secretary Alex Acosta exercised poor judgment in handling an investigation into wealthy financier Jeffrey Epstein when he was a top federal prosecutor in Florida. But it also says he did not engage in professional misconduct. Now, the 350-page report obtained by the Associated Press marks the culmination of an investigation by the Justice Department's Office of Professional Responsibility into Acosta's handling of a secret plea deal with Epstein, who had been accused of assaulting and abusing dozens of underage girls. Now, though the report faulted Acosta for his judgment, it concluded that his actions in arranging the deal did not constitute misconduct and that none of the prosecutors involved committed misconduct in their interactions with the victims. Prosecutors involved, okay, didn't commit misconduct in their interaction with the victims. I want y'all to pay attention because they really disparaged the victims in the case. The conclusions are likely to disappoint the victims who have long hoped that the internal investigation would hold Justice Department officials accountable for actions that they say allowed Epstein to escape justice. So I just want y'all to grasp that for a moment. So we have Alexander Acosta, who was the attorney at the time, and then we have the Justice Department officials who failed to hold Jeffrey Epstein accountable at the time. So the Justice Department, okay, that's how I'm telling y'all this was a cover-up with Jeffrey Epstein. It was a whole cover-up. And I don't even think that man is dead. I don't even think he's dead. Now I have several questions. He could be, but I have several questions. Now, in a statement, Acosta expressed vindication at the report's conclusion that he had not committed misconduct, saying it fully debunks allegations that he had cut a sweetheart deal for Epstein. He said the report confirmed that his decision to open an investigation into Epstein had resulted in a jail sentence and an ex-offender registration for the financier. OPR's report and public records document that without federal involvement, Epstein would have walked free. Now, under the 2008 non-prosecution agreement, also known as an NPA, Epstein pleaded guilty to state charges in Florida and soliciting and procuring a minor for prostitution. That allowed him to avert a possible life sentence, instead serving 13 months in a work release program. Okay, Jeffrey Epstein should have been behind bars years before his last case. He was required to make payments to victims and register as an S offender. Epstein was later charged by federal prosecutors in Manhattan for nearly identical allegations in 2019, but he took his own life while in federal custody as he awaited trial. Acosta said the Epstein affair was vastly more lurid and sweeping than when he was first involved, an allusion to some of the high-profile names referenced in media reports as friends or associates of Epstein, and the fact that more evidence has now been assembled as additional victims have come forward. In a separate statement, Maria Villafana, who was a lead prosecutor in the Florida investigation, said she was pleased that OPR had completed the report, but was disappointed that it has not released the full report so the victims and public can have a fuller accounting of the depths of interference that led to the patently unjust outcome in the Epstein case, saying that injustice, I believe, was the result of deep implicit institutional biases that prevented me and the FBI agents who worked diligently on this case from handling Mr. Epstein or holding Mr. Epstein accountable for his crimes. Brad Edwards, an attorney for several of Epstein's victims, called the report a disappointing sidestep of the issue. He said the Justice Department appears to have backed in to a desired result that is difficult to reconcile with facts, saying we're left still wondering why Jeffrey Epstein got the sweetheart deal that he did and who exactly made the decision to transform a lengthy trafficking indictment into a non-prosecution agreement. The report was also condemned by Republican Senator Ben Sasse of Nebraska, who has questioned Justice Department officials about the plea deal repeatedly. So they think the Justice Department was involved in the cover-up. That's what they're saying. And aren't they, in fact, the feds? Letting a well-connected billionaire get away with child rape and international trafficking isn't poor judgment. It is a disgusting failure, he says. Americans ought to be enraged. Jeffrey Epstein should be riding behind bars today, but the Justice Department failed Epstein's victims at every turn because it was cover-up. The OPR investigation centered on two aspects of the Epstein case: whether prosecutors committed misconduct by resolving the allegations through a non-prosecution agreement, and also whether they failed to keep victims adequately in the loop on developments in the case. The report concluded that the prosecutors did not commit misconduct in their interactions with the victims because there was no clear and unambiguous duty to consult with them before entering into the non-prosecution agreement. But it says the lack of consultation reflected poorly on the Justice Department, and it's contradictory to the department's mission to minimize the frustration and confusion that victims of a crime endure. The internal probe also concluded that Acosta's decision to resolve the federal investigation through the non-prosecution agreement constituted poor judgment. Investigators found that although it was within his broad discretion and did not result from improper factors, the agreement was nonetheless a flawed mechanism for satisfying the federal interest that caused the government to open its investigation of Epstein. Still, the report concluded that Acosta had the authority as the U.S. attorney to resolve the case as he deems necessary and appropriate, as long as his decision was not motivated or influenced by improper factors. But it was influenced by improper factors. According to him, he said out of his mouth that he was told to stand down because Epstein was intelligence. The office said its investigation had turned up no evidence that Acosta was swayed by impermissible considerations such as Jeff Epstein's wealth, status, or associations, and in fact had resisted efforts by defense lawyers to return the case to the state for whatever outcome the state wanted. The report also did not find that a well-publicized 2007 breakfast meeting with one of Epstein's attorneys led to the non-prosecution agreement, which had been signed weeks earlier, or to any other significant decision that benefited Epstein. Records reviewed by the Professional Responsibility Office show that prosecutors weighed concerns about witness credibility and the impact of a trial on victims, as well as Acosta's concerns about the Justice Department's proper role in prosecuting solicitation crimes. Now, that's where I want y'all to pay attention. Are y'all hearing this? They said witness credibility. Here's the thing. I'm going to tell you how this is going to play out. And I want you all to remember you heard it here first. Here's how Diddy's trial is going to go. You see, when Diddy goes before the jury, when he goes on trial, it's not just going to be Diddy that's on trial. It's going to be every last one of his accusers. It's going to be every last one of those witnesses. They're going to be on trial to prove their credibility. Because you see, you walk in the court and you're testifying against somebody and you are an SEX worker. Now, we all know that SEX workers don't have a good credibility. They're out there involved in solicitation. They're being paid for SEX. And they're out there doing illegal substances. They're out there doing a whole bunch of criminal activities, all I'm saying. So you really think the jury is going to listen to 100% of what they say or even believe everything they say? See, that's the thing. That a lot of these people who are going to be testifying against Diddy are the very people who engaged in the same things as Diddy. Now, I want y'all to think about the ramifications of that, the repercussions, okay? Critical thinking skills activated, okay? Because the bottom line is you can sit here and point the finger and say that somebody did something, but what is your motivation for telling us this today, sir or ma'am? It's what the defense is going to ask. Did you or did you not engage in nefarious actions with Diddy? Were you not at the freak-offs? And when you were at these freak-offs, well, did you engage in sexual relations with the person who's now accusing him? Did that person want you to have relations with them? Or did you force yourself on them, sir? Well, you know, I did it, but Diddy told me to do it. He threatened me. They might say that. Or they might say, well, no, it wasn't forced. They were complicit. Either way, that's not good for the prosecution. Okay? That's not good for the prosecution. So I just want you all to pay attention. Okay? Because this is likely how it's all going to go down. They're going to call the victims and the witnesses' character into question. And of course, that's what they're supposed to do. That's the defense team's job, to annihilate, assassinate their character and to destroy their credibility. So you see, when the prosecution comes into court with a letter they've written to the judge suggesting or implying that Diddy was trying to gather dirt on witnesses and accusers, well, that's what Diddy's supposed to do. What's he supposed to do? Go and find some good things that they did? They volunteered at a church. They had a program where they fed the homeless. No, he's supposed to go dig up dirt. And so are his prosecutor, or so are his defense attorneys. They're supposed to go find evidence and receipts of malfeasance, that these people were engaging in nefarious activities that would bring their credibility into question. That would make the jury question their motives as to why exactly they're testifying against Diddy. And here's the thing. Some of Diddy's co-conspirators have flipped on him, of course. Brendan Paul, for example, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so some of his co-defendants have, or co-conspirators have flipped. And so they're going to be testifying against him. But with that all being said, well, the defense is going to say, what's your motivation? Were you promised anything? Were you promised anything for your testimony? Now, some of them got deals. Some of them already got plea deals, like Brendan Paul. So yeah, he has a motivation for lying. Now, he could get up there and tell the whole truth, but all the defense has to prove to the jury is that he has a motivation to lie. Doesn't have to prove that he's lying. All he has to do is let them know that this man was caught with drugs on his person. And he's been hanging out with Diddy for all this time and working for Diddy. Nobody put a gun to him and made him work for Diddy. He chose to. But then when he gets a case, a felony case, now he wants to flip on Diddy, and now he said all these things about our client. Sir, Were you engaged in any illicit or illegal activities when you were working for Sean Diddy Combs? Well, the answer is yes. We don't even have to ask him. We know the answer is yes. He was caught with drugs. He was arrested. He was with Diddy when he was caught with said drugs. There's a motivation for him to lie, is all I'm saying. And these are the things, the key factors and points, okay, that the prosecution or that the defense attorneys are going to bring out into the forefront. So all I'm saying is the feds are playing games. They're playing in our faces, okay? They don't really, you know, they're not really going after Diddy so hard in the paint. Because why is it they haven't charged him with trafficking minors when that's in several lawsuits? There's people who've accused him and said they were kids. How come he hasn't been hit with any of that? They come back and talk about, well, instead of it starting in 2008, we're going to say now that it likely started in 2004. And, you know, we're going to also add that he was out here selling drugs, but that's under the racketeering. Like, make that make sense. Make that make sense. They know what they're doing. This is also certain people don't get exposed and get called out. And they're putting a squeeze on Diddy, though, by even coming with the superseding indictment. That's to try to get Diddy to crack and go ahead and give up the goods and tell him where the videotapes are. They're putting a squeeze on him. That's all they're doing. This is a joke. This is a sideshow. This is nothing more than a rerun of the Epstein debacle. Because I promise you, when this is all said and done, nobody else is going to be indicted, or at least none of the higher ups over Diddy. None of those people are going to be indicted. Okay? None of them. Not Clive Davis, not Lucian Grange, not Ronald Burkle. Now, I'm not saying that they did anything to be indicted that warrants them being indicted. I'm saying, but I believe that they did some things that would warrant them being indicted. Okay? So anyway, with that all being said, I'm about to be out of here. I want to thank you all for tuning in once again. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And, you know, as far as I'm concerned, Mr. Acosta resigning and catching the heat, and people saying that, in fact, that he didn't do an adequate job and that he gave Jeffrey Epstein a sweetheart deal. Well, it sounds like he was coerced into giving him that sweetheart deal. Okay? That's what it sounds like. Now, with that all being said, I love you all to life. Samantha said, greatest broadcast. Thank you, Queen. Well, thank you, beloved. I appreciate you. Okay, I love you all to life. I hope you all enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. Listen, I may be back later because I have some other information that nobody's really talking about. Matter of fact, I am going to be back later. It'll probably be tonight sometime, maybe about 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock tonight. But y'all, we have got to talk about this. Something very interesting is unfolding, and nobody's really talking about it. Okay, I mentioned it a couple of days ago, but I'm going to go more in detail about it later on tonight. Okay, just remember you heard it here first, because I promise this is the first place you're going to hear it. Okay, so anyway, love you all to life. Enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Peace.
Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. That's See right. A bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got